This is the sound of an Israeli drone buzzing in the sky of Gaza. Those Zionist demons are waging an illegal war against Iran. They're invading southern Lebanon. They want to ethnically cleanse it. And in the midst of all of that, they still have time to kill Palestinians here in Gaza. This is a Merkava track buried in the ground here in Gaza. So this is an example of using vegetable oil as fuel for cars. But people have to use that because fuel, diesel and gasoline, they are very, very expensive. This is the Bank of Palestine building. It was bombed at the beginning of the genocide, and there are actually people living here. Those black containers behind me are for salty water. The water that comes out of the faucet. Fresh water comes through water trucks. So the water truck came this morning, honking, letting everyone know that it arrived. A lot of people went to the truck to fill up their water gallons. It's my university, and it was bombed at the beginning of the genocide. Now it's turned into a camp for displaced Palestinians. That's Shifa Hospital. That's the maternity ward. As you can see, there used to be solar panels in that place, but they were stolen after Israeli forces raided the hospital and destroyed it. Now, at the beginning of the genocide, we didn't have this solar panel. There were people on the streets who used to charge people's phones for like 1 shekel or 2 shekels. There was no electricity. Yeah, this used to be the special surgery building. So much destruction. So this is me at the supermarket. I'm buying a bottle of vinegar and lemon salt. I'm using an e-wallet. I basically put his number, phone number, and the amount of money I want to pay, and I transfer. This is the dump in central Gaza City. Mountain of trash. This used to be a storehouse for a company that used to sell chocolate. It was bombed at the beginning of the genocide. Now, an interesting thing about what we used to do is, during the genocide, we would keep the windows open like this. And that's because of the bombing. Bombing is causes a little earthquake. Windows break. These windows were obviously broken. Also, I don't know if you can hear the drones buzzing. It's a sound I hate very much. There are always drones in the sky, Israeli drones. That's the light we keep at night in the living room, in case anyone needed to go to the bathroom or something. So today I went to receive aid from the Qatari Red Crescent. We received an SMS message. An hour ago, Israel bombed Gaza and killed 8 Palestinians. This is what the so-called ceasefire looks like. Israel killing Palestinians with no accountability on a daily basis. Just a few days ago, they killed. There's like a lot of dust in the air right now.
What I would like to start with, what would you like people outside to know about you and the people of Gaza right now, today, after more than 2 years of genocide? Like, what is it that you think people should know about?
I think, I know that after 2 years of genocide, the fight against Zionism is the most moral thing in the world. Zionists are basically the lowest scum in history. That's an informed statement.
ממוקמת שמאל או ימין?
אמצע.
מה זה ניצחון בעיניי?
למחוק אותם?
שתי מדינות לשני עמים.
פצצת אטום, כדי שנחיה.
אפשר לחיות עם ערביי ישראל?
לא, ערבי טוב זה ערבי.
בלבנון ובעזה אנחנו צריכים לקחת שטח, זה חלק מהמלחמה וזה חלק מהתודעה וזה חלק מההכרה בזה שניצחנו את המלחמה הזאת, זה יהיה בזה שניקח שטח.
And I feel like what has happened in Gaza, the genocide that the Zionist entity committed, I feel like it has awakened the world to what the Zionist entity is.
The problem is not Netanyahu. The problem is the whole of Israeli society. If you look at the polls, about 70 to 75% in polls say there are no innocents in Gaza.
And I don't have kids, but the last couple of years I'm thinking like I would love to start a family and have children. And I was telling, after the 2 years of genocide, I was telling my friends like, I want to have kids just now for the sole purpose of teaching them about Palestine. Like I'm at that point, and it really makes me feel so. I don't know if proud is the right word, but I feel when I see young people really standing up for Palestine, it makes my heart feel very warm and full. You're right, the world is waking up. Unfortunately, there's a very heavy price for this awakening, but the world is waking up.
Yes, you're spot on. It took a genocide. It took Israel wiping out Gaza. It's an unprecedented what happened in Gaza. But when I look back at the past 2 years, and I look forward, the sacrifices of Gaza, I know that these sacrifices will not go in vain. The Zionist entity, the Zionists, the criminals, will be held accountable sooner or later. This is the Islamic University in Gaza. It's completely destroyed. This is what used to be my university. These are books I bought a long time ago. So here we have The Grapes of Wrath. Also, same date, April 20th, 2019. And here we have the Translating Arabic and English Media Text. This is from the university. Yeah, I normally wake up at 5:30. I drank a cup of instant coffee. I usually make one packet, but today I made it with 2 packets to help me stay awake. I recently started to write a book about my experience during the genocide. I've never written a book before. I'm not very good at writing in Arabic, let alone English, but we'll see how it goes. I am in page 2 right now. So the way I think about it is I would make it a subtitle or a heading. For example, I wrote a subtitle called The Chickens. I wrote it this morning, and below it a paragraph about how we had several chickens in the freezer when the genocide started, and there was no electricity, so we had to cook one every day before they go bad. So something like this.
Well, I don't know if, like you said, I don't know if you're a good writer or not. We'll have to, but you're already thinking like a writer, already like to use this metaphor of the chicken to tell another story. You already, what I can tell you, you have the mind of a writer because you're not writing the obvious. You're using another thing to tell the bigger story. So that's beautiful. So keep writing.
So I'm doing a final exam like right now. These are the questions. It's about technologies of translation and freelancing. Okay, next page. Yeah, that's what it's like. The university was destroyed. That's how we do final exams.
I want to talk about your education part because you spoke about writing in English versus Arabic, and obviously your English is very good. Can you tell us what are you studying?
So right now I'm technically a student, but I finished the final exams, like the last final exams in university last week. The last exam was about media translation. We do these exams online. The university was bombed, like from the very beginning, like on day 2 or 3. Even the Israelis, they put out the video of them bombing the university. They also bombed, almost all universities were bombed.
Gaza's youngest university was established in 2014 and was set to mark its 10th anniversary this year by opening a public museum highlighting Palestinian history and culture. Its main building was occupied for 70 days by Israeli soldiers and physically destroyed by explosives on the 17th of January 2024. Al-Azhar University was established in 1991. At its peak, the university had 12 faculties and 17,000 students. Around the 6th of November 2023, Israeli air forces bombed the campus of Al-Azhar University. On the 22nd of January 2024, Israeli forces shelled Al-Aqsa University. At the time of the attack, the university was functioning as a shelter for displaced people.
You know, I had a professor, he's very famous, his name is Rifat Al-Ar'ir. He used to teach me poetry.
If I must die, you must live to tell my story. If I must die, let it bring hope, let it be a tale. These were the words of Palestinian poet and professor Rifat Al-Ar'ir, who was killed in an Israeli airstrike on Palestine's Gaza. Al-Ar'ir, a professor of English literature at the Islamic University of Gaza.
I would sit like in the front row of seats, like as close to him as possible. I do that with all professors, but he was like the head of WANN, WANN, We Are Not Numbers, which is a project by the, I think the Euromed Human Rights Monitor. It teaches Palestinian students how to write in English.
We Are Not Numbers, a Palestinian youth-led project that pairs authors from Gaza with mentors abroad who help them write stories in English about their experiences.
We know that it's very bleak, it's very dark. There's no way out. If there's no water, there's no way out of Gaza. What should we do? Like drown? Like commit mass suicide? Is this what Israel wants? And we're not going to do that. And I was telling some friend the other day that I'm an academic. Probably the toughest thing I have at home is an expo marker. But if the Israelis invade, if they charge at us, open door to door, to massacre us, I'm going to use that marker, throw it at the Israeli soldiers, even if that is the last thing that I would be able to do.
You know, it's interesting because before the genocide, like 2 or 3 months in the summer, I sat down with a classmate of mine who was part of the project, and he asked me, you know, why don't you? He said to me that my English was good and that maybe I should join the project. I said to him, I feel like someone else would be more interested than I was in the project. So you know, that was me before the genocide. Like I was just. I'm an introvert. Still, I am an introvert. But now, after the genocide, you know, it changed me. I would just keep to myself. That was me before the genocide. And recently, when they began receiving applications to be a member, and I filled an application. That was 2 days ago, I think.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's so. Yeah, to hear you say the genocide changed you, because obviously I don't live in Gaza, I live outside, but I feel the same. I feel like there's so many things that, of course, I always cared about Palestine, of course, but there wasn't this urgency that is now. It's almost like it runs in my veins. It's like, I think because the genocide took so long, this time the crime was so in your face, so violent, so aggressive, it really changed us fundamentally, I feel, from a very deep level. And yeah, it's crazy to hear that that's almost like a universal experience. But of course, for someone who lives in Gaza, I'm sure it's more intensified. But
What happened in Gaza has never happened in Gaza's history as a city. It's a very old city, Gaza. This has never happened in its history. The destruction and devastation and the killing. That's what they did. That's what the Zionists have committed. Now, by the way, this is Western Gaza City, so it's not as much destroyed as, or wiped out, but to be accurate, as Eastern Gaza City. So this is the door. This doesn't work because of the impact of Israeli bombing. They were doing demolitions. That was during when they raided a Shifa hospital. And that's the elevator's key. But it doesn't work. Yeah, we live in this apartment. We've been living in it since 2018. And we used to live in a different apartment, but the building in which we used to live was bombed. And so now that apartment was like, we were like homeowners, and so we lost our home, and we've been renting this apartment ever since.
you mean the bombing happened in 2018?
Yes.
Oh, damn.
انت احمد جاي معانا؟ هيا دور معي. خلاص يا عمر.
This is where our home used to be. It's just empty land. There are actually people living in a tent over there. I just saw them. And wow.
This story alone of the 2018 bombing makes me think like, oh my God. Of course we know that this has been going on way before October 7, but 2018 is not widely known as one of those points where they go in to mow the lawn, as they call it. But it's yet another example of the operations they carry out in Gaza and have been carrying out. So tell me a little bit more about this bombing of... Why was your building bombed in 2018? What happened then?
So that was in November 13th, in the middle of the night. Now, basically what happened 2 or 3 days before was there was an Israeli special force, like an undercover, that went into Khan Yunis in southern Gaza. They went in, and I think they wanted to install equipment, like to spy, but they were discovered, and there was like a shootout, but they managed to escape because they had air cover. So Israel started bombing they launched like 40 airstrikes to cover for them to escape, and then they were evacuated, that force, with a helicopter. Yeah, so that was followed by a round of escalation and Israeli aggression. You know, Palestinian factions started launching missiles, and Israel started bombing Gaza. And the building that we used to live in was one of the buildings that were leveled.
The great tragedy of Gaza is that it could have been Singapore, but Hamas turned it into Haiti.
Israel is a land that God gave through Abraham to a people that he chose. It was a people, a place, and a purpose. We can look at it that way.
What does that mean? Does Israel have the right to that land?
It would be fine if they took it all.
You've seen the Tucker Carlson and Mike Huckabee interview.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Huckabee, he's a lunatic.
Yeah, that's a good word for it.
Yeah, I love watching people who are pro-Palestine or anti-Israel comment on these things. That's that's like fun to me.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so you're like me a little bit. I spend almost, I don't know, 6, 7 hours a day just watching stuff about Palestine and politics. Listening to Muhammad talk, I really feel like a protective father. First of all, he is young enough to be my son if I became a dad at a young age, but also he just makes me so proud, just his character. Like, I'll give you an example. After the interview, I asked him if he'd like me to include any links to where people could follow him, and he was very adamant about not wanting to have a link where people could donate. Because he was like, I'm not here to beg. I just want people to know about Palestine. It just made me so proud. And also just to see this young man, very intelligent, just working hard. And I don't know, like he's got a little bit of a kind of a nerdy quality. Because I've been asking him to film little snippets of his life, on his phone. And I asked him, like, what do you do for fun? He's like, I research and I watch videos online of analysts talking about Palestine.
It's a total siege, and they call them animals, right? On a regular basis, on like a daily basis, never mind a weekly basis. You have top Israeli government officials.
That was Kyle Kulinski. He has a YouTube channel called Secular Talk. I love watching his commentary on what's happening in Gaza.
So if you know a way to get to Kyle, let him know Muhammad is a fan. It would be amazing if we can connect him to him.
So this is how people in Gaza make falafel. They use a hairdryer with, I think, vegetable oil or some kind of fuel. Now the hairdryer pushes air so that it helps with fire. So this motorcycle, it uses a gas cylinder for fuel, cooking gas. Now, as I said before, diesel and gasoline is very expensive. 1 liter of diesel costs 30 shekels. Like these are the big bottles with the light liquid. And the artificial diesel, the smaller bottles with the dark liquid, 1 liter costs 15 shekels, so half. Now, they do it by burning, I think, plastic bottles and nylons. We're using this slide to throw the rubble. Wow. Now here we have these lights. We use them at night because we can't use the solar panels to keep light at night, so we use these. So that's its button. So it has its own battery. It's a black battery. That's the battery. So this is the water meter. Each apartment in the building has one. 1,000 liters cost 20 shekels.
But I had, maybe this is a naive question, but who decides the price of, for example, the price of water, the price of the electricity, the meter? Who decides all these things?
Israel. It depends on the amount of... Now, we have nothing in Gaza. They destroyed everything. We have nothing. So it depends on what gets in. Like the aid, there is cooking gas that like they're drip feeding it. I said we use wood for fire. Almost all people do. It's not easy to chop wood, especially wood from trees. I even turned a little red. I'm speeding up the video. Here we have the grill basket. I place it on top of the tin. I keep putting cardboard inside the tin until the wood above catches fire. Now this wood is from a tree, so it takes longer to catch fire, but lasts longer. Okay, so there's fire now, and here is the pot. I'm gonna fill it with water. That's how we actually shower.
Can you believe your life if you had to sit and boil the water so you could have a shower? And yet he's doing that with dignity, not asking to be a victim or seen as a victim.
There isn't much gasoline in Gaza, so it's expensive. There isn't much like things in Gaza. Most things are expensive. Everything. So it depends on what gets in. So during the starvation, there was nothing. You might remember the flour massacre. people were willing to risk their lives for a bag of flour. So this is aid being airdropped from the air. These videos were taken by my brother back in April 2024. These people are gathering around an aid pallet. This is a school we used to stay in, waiting for the airplanes to arrive. Now this area, it's the same area, it's not populated. As you can see, there's destruction. There are no people living here, but we used to arrive here. People would come in here and wait for the aid. This is one of the airplanes that used to arrive and drop the aid. This is an aid box that I managed to get when I was there. I used to go. It's an MRE, meal ready to eat. It's military meal. Now the box contains 12 meals. They have the logo of the Department of Defense on them. And here's what they look like. Each meal has a number. And they have different things inside them. And this is what my arm used to look like. I walked a lot in the sun. The area in which the aid was dropped was several kilometers north of where we used to live, and I would just walk. I counted how much time it took, and it was like 1 hour and 15 minutes to arrive at that area. And a bag of flour before the genocide used to cost like 35 shekels. But during the starvation, it cost like 3,000 shekels. So, because Israel was not letting in aid, but when they allow, which isn't much by the way, the price drops. So Israel is the one controlling the prices in Gaza, and they are expensive. One of the problems no one outside knows about in Gaza is the banknote problem. Now for 2 years, nothing has went in. No money, no banknotes or coins went into Gaza. So people would use the banknotes that were already here from before the genocide. And they have gotten worn out. Now here I have the 20 shekel banknote. Here is the 100 shekel. And here is the 200 shekel banknote. They have gotten worn out that they are not fit for circulation anymore, basically. Like this one. People look, when you try to buy something with it, people always do this. They try to look for holes inside the banknote. Now, when I say holes, this is what I mean. See? This is not fit for circulation. This banknote is basically worthless. You can't buy anything with it.
And I saw one of the videos that you sent when you went to pick up the packages of the aid from the Qatari thing.
Qatari Red Crescent.
How often does this happen? In what quantities? What's happening there?
It's rare. It was a coincidence that it happened while I was preparing to do the interview with you. So we received that's how people get aid. They receive an SMS message telling them to go to this storehouse or this place at the specific time to receive the aid. And of course they have to bring the ID. But since the so-called ceasefire, the aid is restricted. Like it's drip feeding Gaza with aid. There's the World Food Program, which is active in Gaza. Like 3 or 4 times since the ceasefire. So
oh wow. So 3 or 4 times of this package that you filmed, the bag basically.
First from the Qatari Red Crescent. So here we have tahina. Here is feta cheese. Here we have dates. That's the luncheon. We call it mortadella. And there's this sugar, rice, pasta, jam, yellow cheese, and milk. Yeah, like I said, it's drip feeding.
Well, you said you receive an SMS, so you receive it, or like one person on behalf of the family receives it, or how does that work?
So the person who received the aid has to be in the aid package is supposed to be for a family, not for a single individual. So you have to be married, like it's usually the husband's name that received the SMS message. Uh, when it's a widow, it's the widow's ID.
Gotcha. And in your case, who received the SMS or the aid?
It was on my dad's number. I was the one who went to get it.
Oh, and you showed your ID.
I showed my ID and a copy of my dad's ID.
One of the videos, or there was almost a series of videos that you sent about the solar panels.
Yes.
Yeah, amazing. I love those videos on so many levels. First, it just speaks to مش بس the resilience, you know how crafty like Palestinians are. They're like, you know, زي ما بيقولوا الحاجة أم الاختراع. Like there's this kind of almost like a lab invention vibe to it, which I really liked.
So this is the wire that extends from the solar panel. Those are its cables. We need to connect them to the battery. Now there's this inverter. So we turn this power into electricity by this. So we need to connect these cables as well. This is the phone. And you turn it on. Yeah. Now you can also use it to connect electricity to the apartment.
Is the solar panel something that just came up now after the genocide, or what? Tell us more about that.
So before the genocide, electricity was 8 hours on and 8 hours off. So half of the time there's no electricity. And people would buy solar panels. It's just the sun, so it's free. And when you see old pictures of Gaza, like before the genocide, you will notice that there's a lot of solar panels on the roofs of buildings. At the beginning of the genocide, there was no electricity whatsoever. So people would use these solar panels. Like there were people literally on the streets with a solar panel which is attached to a battery, so that the solar panel charges the battery. And they would charge people's phones for like 1 shekel or 2 shekels.
I wanted to ask you what you think. Speaking of the solar panels, I saw videos of like the IDF destroying the panels. Is that true?
Those savages destroy everything. Solar panels, homes, kindergartens, hospitals. This is a Shifa hospital, special surgery building. It's destroyed. This other building as well, destroyed. Shifa Hospital used to be the biggest medical complex in Gaza. It's a different angle. Oh my god. There's so much destruction in this area. They destroy anything. Of course they would destroy solar panels.
But when you put them against each other, the juxtaposition of how crafty and resilient the Palestinians are in doing all the system to have electricity, relying on the sun, versus the destruction of the solar panels, so easy with just one drop. It captures the genocide and life in Gaza so well. Like no matter what you do, no matter what you try, it will still be destroyed. Like almost they cannot allow Palestinians to have the joy of rebuilding something. It's crazy how sick they are.
Their goal is to basically level the entirety of the Gaza Strip. And most of it is leveled, actually. Like 80% of it. You have Rafah, used to be a city. Now it's rubble, it's wasteland. Literally wasteland. What they did was occupy the city. That was when they resumed the genocide in March 2025. They occupied it. Everyone was kicked out. And then they started demolishing it. That's what they do. So That's what they did to northern Gaza, the eastern Gaza city, in the central camps area, in Khan Yunis. Most of Khan Yunis is wiped out. In the days and weeks before the so-called ceasefire, which went into effect in October 2025, they would send those robots. We call them robots. They are armored personnel carriers. They fill them up with explosive. No, they are ancient. Like they're called M113 or Zelda. They have many of them. They come from the U.S. and they don't use them anymore. So they would fill them up with explosives and send them remotely to Gaza or in an area in which there are buildings, and they would just blow it up to cause as much destruction as possible. They kept doing that. So, and they tried. The Israeli defense minister, the terrorist, forget what his name is, Yisrael Katz. He said when they were going to occupy Gaza, we're going to make Gaza look like Rafah and Beit Hanun. And these two towns and cities were wiped out.
בכפרי המגע, כדי לסכל איומים על היישובים הישראלים, בהתאם למודל בית חנון ורפיח בעזה.
Given all this destruction, all this brutality, you as a person, from your perspective, someone, a young man living in Gaza, like, how do you see the future? How do you see your future? What thoughts do you have around that?
I'm not a pessimistic person, but I think the future holds a lot of bad things, more suffering and pain for Palestinians in Gaza, because that's Israel's goal. It's to, first of all, like I said, they're restricting aid, they're restricting food, so you can only imagine what they do with reconstruction. There's no reconstruction. There is destruction in Gaza.
וסיכמנו עם ידידינו בארצות הברית, לא יהיה שיקום הרצועה לפני פירוז הרצועה.
And you have the yellow line. They keep moving it westwards. They keep taking more and more land, and there are people living near the yellow line. One day they might end up inside the yellow line, and they have to leave. They no longer have a home.
A friend of mine, as the ceasefire started, went back to their home, all rubble, before the yellow line, thinking it was still a safe place. They placed their tent, they put all their belongings, but overnight they woke up and the yellow line was deeper inside. Now they're at risk. According to Israel, they are opposing a threat to the Israeli occupation.
And if anyone tries to go back to their home inside the yellow line, they'll be shot or killed, and the Israeli terrorists will say that they eliminated a terrorist who crossed the yellow line and posed an immediate threat to their forces. That's what they do. So the future, I'm not a pessimistic person, but it's not good.
Yeah, you're not pessimistic, but you're realistic. Like, also there's reality that you see with your eyes.
Yes.
Can you put yourself in the shoes of this young man? Like, imagine, like any young person, you think of the future, right? You have dreams, you have things you want to do. Can you imagine the choices that you have? Either to stay in this place that has been turned to rubble, place where your home is, or go find a life somewhere else and be separated from your loved ones and start all over again with these circumstances. Like, these are the choices the young people of Gaza have to live with. Thanks to Israel. Anyways. But then, let me ask it in another way. What do you hope? What do you dream of? What do you aspire to? Because I believe we said it when we were not recording. You have a middle brother, because you're the eldest brother. You're three brothers, and your middle brother, he immigrated on a scholarship to Italy, right?
Yes, he had a scholarship for high school.
Is it a fair question to say, is your goal to also leave Gaza, or no? Or what?
My goal is I might leave Gaza like temporarily, maybe for work or studying, but not permanently. I grew up in Gaza. I love Gaza. Gaza was very beautiful. So I love Gaza. I love the people, the culture. And so, no, I do not plan on leaving Gaza permanently.
Yeah, I don't think anyone in Gaza plans to leave permanently. The only thing, the fear is that if you do leave temporarily, will they let you back in? That's where my mind goes.
Exactly. They want that was the fear, is that they will kick all Palestinians out. They call it voluntary migration.
פתרון עזה זה להוציא את כל העזתים מעזה בדרך של הגירה או בדרך של חיסול כל התושבים.
And your brother, did I hear you correctly, scholarship for high school? That's so he's doing high school in Italy?
It was like evacuating children or something. Like he was below 18. Yeah, and he also he's smart. He has high grades that I think make him eligible to have a scholarship.
That part about his middle brother getting evacuated to Italy. Can you imagine? He was evacuated in the middle of the night. His goodbye had to be rushed because the organization that evacuated him told him he couldn't let anyone know because it has to go as smoothly as possible. So he left in the middle of the night, like a spy operation with nothing but his clothes. He couldn't even take his phone. And he had to quickly say goodbye to his mom, who was sobbing, obviously. And he said goodbye to Muhammad, his elder brother, when Muhammad was actually doing one of the interviews. And just like that, goodbye, and you're done. You won't see your family again. Maybe he'll see them, maybe he won't. And if he'll see them, will he see all of them? Can they all follow him to Italy? Will Israel allow them to get evacuated? Will Italy take them in? Those are choices none of us have to think about. Well, some of us have to think about it. Like, not to that extent. Obviously, my life is nothing like the people in Gaza, but like, I've always had an Arabic passport. So the visa application is a big thing. And every time you apply for a visa, you always have to prove your financial, capabilities so that the country that, you're going on a holiday to doesn't think you're trying to escape to. So you constantly have to put your bank statements. So this is something that's just something bureaucratic, but it constantly reminds you that you're a lower class. Now, the people in Gaza now, it's like the stakes are so high, it's a life or death. You'll see the people that you love or you'll never see them again, but it's all that scale, like where you are. The Israelis, of course, are up there, where they belong.
Arabs make a piguim and we need to kill Arabs.
I don't think there's any answer to it. Really? There's only one way, I would carpet bomb them.
You would carpet bomb them?
It's the only way you could deal with it.
By the way, his middle brother had to get evacuated. He had a big route. Like, not just like get on a plane and go to Italy. He went from Deir al-Balah, which is in the middle of Gaza, to Khan Yunis, and then to Karm Abu Salim corridor, which is a trade corridor between Gaza, Israel, and Egypt. And from there, he took a bus to Jordan, and from Jordan, he went to Bosnia, and from Bosnia, he ended up in Italy. Just a teenage boy, all by himself, with no phone, no ability to talk to anyone. And of course, big thanks to the organization that evacuated him, because he got a scholarship. It also reminds me of a story of another Palestinian from Gaza. Her name is Ranat. She was a big chef, cute 11-year-old girl making dishes in Gaza. And she got evacuated here to the Netherlands, to Maastricht, because her elder sister got a master's at the University of Maastricht. The level of education is something that is rarely talked about when it comes to Gaza. But I think there's a high level of education, intelligence, literacy.
That's why the Zionists obliterated the universities and schools and kindergartens. Yeah.
Yeah, fuck. Yeah. Well, now our internet got cut out for a second. You said something before about like that while we're talking, you're using two routers, two different connections. Oh, it's happening again. I think I'm losing you, but I'll wait for you to come back to say that. It's saying reconnecting. Yeah, you're back.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you said
okay, so this is
about the routers.
Yeah, this is the perfect segue into it. Tell us what just happened with the routers or the connection.
We have a router in our apartment. We installed it like recently. There was an ad from Paltel, the Palestinian telecommunication company, like for 3 people or 3 subscribers. But it's not fast. Like, it's good for browsing. And there's the routers in the streets. These routers, you need to buy a Wi-Fi ticket to get Wi-Fi. Like, I have one. There it is. So the way we get Wi-Fi is by Wi-Fi tickets. This one costs 1 shekel, and it lasts for 8 hours. There's the username and the password. And so I'm using both. I bought a Wi-Fi ticket for this interview, and I also have the router. So when one of them goes off, I switch to the other.
This is what actually gave us purpose, because if we didn't do this, we would just die surviving and not doing anything. We would die internally if we weren't dead physically already.
Maybe because the genocide is technically over, or as Israel is pretending it's over, it forced the world to turn away a little bit. So maybe, is there something you would like to say to the people who are, maybe Palestine is slipping from their consciousness? What do you want to tell them to remind them of Gaza and what's going on in Gaza?
So the genocide is still continuing. The Zionist terrorist entity is still committing genocide, demolishing Gaza. It's preventing aid. It's torturing Palestinians, still bombing Palestinians. 600 Palestinians were killed during so-called ceasefire. And what I want to say is, there's I think a lot of people who support Palestine. What I want to say is, turn the words into action. Call for boycotting Israel diplomatically, academically, economically.
Hi all, my name is Dov Baum and I work for the American Friends Service Committee. And today we have some great news. I've just heard that the state of Washington is the first US state to have divested from Israeli apartheid, genocide and occupation. The state treasurer has decided, using ethical criteria, to sell off bonds that the state held in Caterpillar. And once they sold these bonds, which were valued at $53 million, the state operating accounts, their bank accounts, are now clean and free of any other companies on the BDS shortlist.
Anyway, you guys, never stop talking about Palestine. And for the lip sync portion of this video, for the drag portion, for the entertainment portion, whatever you want to call it, I chose Eckhart Tolle because, before I started talking about the genocide, I started this channel and this drag journey, if you will, after years of therapy, and not just therapy in a therapist's office, which I did, but also therapy with myself, like listening to people whose thoughts I wanted to kind of absorb and make part of my system. And Eckhart Tolle was one of the people that I discovered.
The enjoyment of a beautiful thing, or a house, or even a car, is not necessarily non-spiritual.
And it was very helpful at the time to kind of fuse him with the parts of myself that are more materialistic.
The excessive preoccupation with it, with the attainment of it, that takes you away from reality, the truth of who you are, from awakening.
And the message of Eckhart Tolle specifically really aligns with what Muhammad is saying and the choices that people like Muhammad and the rest of the people in Gaza have to contend with. Like, what is life now after this apocalypse that erased everything they know?
The true renunciation is not really renouncing material things, it's renouncing attachment. So that outer renunciation is not really the main thing. The true renunciation is attachment to, which operates on an inner level. And so it's always a good little test when something leaves you or is stolen. If then upset arises, then, I was attached, I thought I was not. But when you can let go of when things come and then things go, perhaps things come to you and perhaps after a while you give it to somebody else to enjoy. The sense of ownership also begins to disappear. So you look after something for a while and then it's handed on to somebody else.
This is our cat. Her name is Mimi. She was born in, I think, March 2023, so she's 3-year-old now. Yeah.
Destruction. The most beautiful thing is that I found some wild plants. Look at this.
Khubaze, it's rubble, as you see around me. This Khubaze made it. And then this Gurreis made it too.
Rimal area, it's Gaza downtown.
نحن الأقوياء، نحن أسود، أنتم ذئران، أنتم لستم إلا احتلال، أنتم دولة احتلال ظالمة فاسقة، لا يوجد في قلوبكم أي ذرة للرحمة، تقتلون الأطفال والنساء، أنت كاذب، أنت وكل جيشك، والله 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 سنحرر فلسطين.